Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm super excited to dedicate today's MySQL workshop to building the analysis behind me, which counts the number of churners for a given online business. So what is churn? So if you have an online business, you're probably familiar with customer lifecycle. A churner is somebody that has finished their life cycle with you and are no longer interacting with your products, apps, or websites. So what I'm going to do is with you, take you step by step on all the little technical know-hows to count, aggregate, but most importantly, create a baseline sort of number of churners for your business. So why is this important? If you know on average how many customers you're losing per day and how many are churning, you know how many installs you need to keep your digital audience growing. So let's dive in and build it together now. Alright, the first thing we need to do is we need to declare a variable, and in that variable define how many days of inactivity represents a churner. So in the mobile games industry, it's about 14 days of inactivity. I've seen 30 days, and I've also seen the number go as low as 7 days of inactivity. So for today, we're going to do 14 days. We're going to put it in a variable so that if you need to change that variable, you can just make one change and the entire script will be updated. We're going to call this days to churn. Let's put an ampersand here. 14 days, cool. Now to calculate churn, we actually only need a table of customer logins. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to understand what is this data through. So today's data is September 2nd, 2024. I'm assuming this data is through yesterday, prior day, September 1st, 2024. But let's figure that out for sure. We're going to use a window function to get that value and see what it is. Okay, great. So as we suspected, our data is through yesterday. So you see that in the third column here, September 1st, 2024. Great stuff. Now we need to calculate the max login date for every customer. So every customer individually will have a max login date. So let's call this entire subselect A. So this is the max login date right here per customer. Great, so we're gonna have every customer and their max login date. Now what we're gonna do is add 14 days to that max login date to see what the churn date is. If the churn date is in the future, so greater than September 1st, the date that our data is through, then we're gonna drop those records. But any other record will be considered basically that customer's official churn date. So here's our data. As an example, we have a customer, right, whose last login date was almost a full year ago, was the last time we saw them. So they're definitely churned. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those 14 days, we're gonna add it to September 5th, 2023, the last time we saw them, and create a new column here that says churn date, and their official churn date was September 5th, 2023 plus 14 days. So September 19th, 2023 is when we can officially consider them churned. So let's add that churn date column now. Okay, great. We need an underscore here. And then we need each customer's max login date, which is here. And then do interval. We need to add the 14 days, this variable here, and we want to add days, not months or weeks or anything like that. So churn date. So all we need to do now is add a little logic to the where clause and say, hey, if the churn date is greater than September 1st, 2024, drop the record, this customer is not churned, right? So if someone logged in yesterday, September 1st, right? September 1st plus 14 days is September 15th, 2024. Today is September 2nd, so that record needs to be dropped. We need to wait an additional 14 days to see if they churned. Okay, wonderful. So if we look at this example right here, we have a customer and their last login date, the last time they interacted with your company was November 3rd, 2023. So 14 days added to that is November 17th, 2023, and that is their official churn date. So let's add that where clause logic now. This churn date needs to be less than or equal to September 1st, 2024, the date that our data is through. And that's this field again, right, that we got from this window function. So all we need to do now is aggregate. And we just simply need a count of customers by the churn date, and we're good. This needs to be changed to churn. And we're about ready to take this over to Excel. Here we are, this is a count of churners per day. So let's go to Excel. So all we need to do is just build a basic histogram, nothing fancy. Fantastic, this is pretty amazing, and the reason why is because as a business owner or business leader or even a strategist, you can look at this and say, okay, we lose about 100 to 150 customers per day. That means we need to be bringing in at least that many customers via installs or more. So super useful. I'll caveat this analysis with one thing, which is, as you notice, as you get closer to the most recent date and time, or as you get closer to the current date, which is September 2024, the number of churners is increasing, right? And that's because, let's say you churned in 2022, right? Way back here historically in the past. That gives you all of this time to be reactivated, to be re-engaged, right? And if you do return to the product after a year or 18 months, then you're going to be removed. Your churn data point will be removed. So this is different from people up here where maybe they're just 14 days churned or 15 days churned, right? They're counted as a churner, but haven't had a lot of leading historical days where maybe they come back after a year. Maybe a year from now in September 2025 they come back and their churn data point in September 2024 gets removed when you rerun this script and analysis a year from now. So it can be a little confusing, but the most important thing is hey, baseline, you know I'm losing 100 to 150 customers per day. I gotta bring 150 or more installs into my business per day to keep my audience. To grow it, I have to have north of 200 installs per day. So really useful metric. I want to thank you for joining today's workshop. And if you like this content, continue to like and subscribe. Thank you very much.